Live na po.
Thank you, Miss
Thank you,
Len.
Miss. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon po.
Good afternoon, Sir Anjo.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sir Anjo. Musta?
Hi, Sir Alan. I'm good, doing good. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
Yeah. You're from Lasal Bacolod, no?
Yes, sir. Previously, I studied in La Salle Bacolod.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay. All right. Thank you po. Thank you. Sige. Wait lang po.
Can you hear me okay naman, sir? Loud and clear naman.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we'll do this in English and Tagalog na lang po, no? Para lahat makakaintindi.
Yeah. It's like kwentuhan lang. But
Kwentuhan lang.
you prepared the slides. May
I
slides ka?
Yes, I do have.
Yeah. Okay. We're live na. Wait lang po.
Okay.
Sige. So check ko muna yung mga natin, mga followers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yun. Yun na pala. All right.
Good afternoon po. Good afternoon po, mga Kapix Pro.
Right.
Greetings kay Sir George Pineda. Good afternoon po, sir.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes.
Good afternoon po, Sir Ray Navarro. Good day po.
Okay, let me introduce our speaker no. Wait lang. Okay. Good afternoon again, no? Welcome to another session, Kwentuhang Cybersecurity, no? PixPro. All right. Let me introduce our speaker, no? It's a penetration tester, no? From Manila, no? Remote, sir?
Yes, sir. Publicist, yeah.
As a senior associate in application security. Okay. And also from LaSalle, no? Graduated LaSalle. Game dev development. That is correct, sir?
Yeah, game dev major, sir.
Yes. Sir, welcome, Sir Anjan Tingson. Okay, sir. Along the way, we greet our followers sa PixPro. Okay? Sige, sir. We will start para marami tayong makwento sa kanila.
Of course, sir. So yeah, let me share my screen so we can introduce. Sir, just confirm, sir, if you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, there you go. So, yeah. Hello, mga Kapix Pro. Thank you so much for having me here. It is an honor to share the knowledge, especially from ethical hacking or web app penetration testing. And yeah, as contribution to the community na din, this is also our part or also our role to share knowledge in the community. And yun. So today we are going to discuss understanding how ethical hackers secure modern applications. So finding vulnerabilities before attackers do. So again, Andrew Evtingson, penetration tester. So yeah, about me, I'm a web app penetration tester, and not just specifically lang po sa web app penetration tester. No, once you say na penetration tester, there's a lot of systems or frameworks that we can do a pen test. It's first is one web application. We have also mobile applications. We have networks, systems, infrastructures, almost anything digitally that available right now in our technological world. And also additionally, we have AI pen testing again. And if we have time later on, we can discuss later what is AI penetration testing and how we can leverage AI to do the pen test. Okay. Again, we have here CVE 2024-5807. It is one of my research here. So once you say CVE, if any one of you here knows what CVE is, so it is a common vulnerability exposure. So we have research here one of security issues in WordPress ecosystems. So that's why they have given us this uh, assigning number for this CVE. There is this vulnerability exposure into the systems. And what I did there was I researched about it and then reported the findings or the vulnerabilities within their ecosystems. Okay, expertise was top 10. That is very essential for web application penetration testers. API security, it is included already. Vulnerability assessments and penetration testing. And later on, we are going to discuss what is the difference between vulnerability assessments and penetration testing. Okay, focus, actionable security reporting, and continuous learning. Yes, we are going to discuss that one also later. Okay, so for today's agenda, what is ethical hacking? Types of hackers, ethical hacking life cycle, rules of engagement. As what I've said, VA versus PT, vulnerability assessment versus penetration testing versus vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. There are points where you can distinguish both of them later on. So common web vulnerabilities, we are also going to discuss that one. Bug bounty hunting, if any one of you have an idea with bug bounty hunting, we are going to discuss with that one also, and career roadmap. So yeah, let's start with what is ethical hacking. So ethical hacking is the approved process of identifying security weaknesses in systems before malicious attackers can exploit them. Now, we are discussing here what is the importance of securing applications, and that's what we call it ethical hacking. There are lots of factors where we can contribute into securing our applications. So first, again, this is an authorized testing, which means you have documentations, scopes of engagement. Everything is documented here legally, what you can do, what you cannot do. Okay. And it is very different from malicious actors out there. Okay. And we are going to discuss that one as well. Okay, simulating real-world attacks in a controlled environment to prove exploitability and calculate actual business impacts. So again, it is covered under the VAPT. Remediate, partnering with developers and organizations to fix discovered weaknesses and harden the infrastructure. So our common goal here as application security or pen testers is that we are going to look and find those vulnerabilities first before malicious attackers does. There's this previous colleague of mine wherein I was like junior in the field, and at first I have this concept na I'm going to look for cool bugs. Maghahanap ako ng mga cool vulnerabilities, like I'm going to exploit this, I'm going to do that, and those are the common misconceptions of us pen testers. Na we're going to attack the systems right away. We're going to do this, and somehow I got this reality check wherein hindi lang including doon yung mga kaya nating gawin. We have low hanging fruits or low what do you call this? Severity bugs. And as much as important, they are important as well as critical bugs. And it is because, let's say, for example, we have found this information disclosure in the header response. And we happen to see na merong ginagamit na server si application, or let's say si web application, may ginagamit siyang server na Apache Tomcat. Let's say Apache Tomcat. And that server is a very, very old one. And then technically in the wild, parang outdated na siya, hindi na siya masyadong ginagamit, but your application does. It uses the Apache Tomcat. And there is this exploit or vulnerability that is available in the internet. So anyone can use it, anyone can utilize it. And it happens that that low severity finding, the exposure of the version of Apache Tomcat, greatly exposed your systems into the vulnerability itself. It's because na kahit yung mga non-tech person can use that and do the attack, and it could cause a major issues in your corporations or in your businesses or your companies. So just an example on what is the importance of penetration testing. Okay. Also, we're going to discuss this one, the cost of insecurity. So, of course, there is a cost for that one, especially if you happen to get breached. So, financial devastations, of course, millions lost to ransomware payouts, fines, and operational downtime. Reputational damage, loss of customer trust that takes organizations years to rebuild. So we're going to discuss that one first, the financial devastation and reputational damage. So let's say we have this company ABC, and it happens that company ABC is offering a service of, let's say, healthcare, okay, healthcare. And si company ABC is vulnerable to this specific kind of attack, and it was utilized by a malicious actors. They breached the system, and if we're going to focus here on ransomware is an attack wherein attackers would encrypt your files, everything from backup servers, all your applications, documents. So they are going to encrypt it. You cannot use it technically, and the only way for you to do that or to use that is to pay the attackers or the malicious actors in crypto or any secure way that they could receive the payouts. So usually it would the attackers would ask for millions of dollars depending on how large the company or the corporation is. And other than that, hindi lang po yan yung babayaran ni corporation, ni company ABC. We have also a body where they would fine a lot of huge amount of fines because of the breach that happened. So operational downtime, given na po yun, hindi na po makakapag-operate. For the meantime, si company ABC, it's because hindi niya na magagamit yung systems niya because it is encrypted already by the ransomware. So yeah, reputational damage, loss of customer trust that takes organization years to build. Let's say si company ABC has this kind of reputation na ang bilis niya mag-respond sa mga customers. Tiwalang-tiwala yung customer sa kanya. It's because na they feel very protected. And then there's a lot of perks kay company ABC. And then si company 123 is a competitor, and then suddenly na breach si company ABC. Most probably what will happen is that yung mga customers ni company ABC would go to company 123. It's because na they don't feel safe anymore, because what if during those breach yung data ni customers ABC nakuha, and what will attackers do or malicious actors do? We have PIIs, or personal identifiable information. And what they're going to do with that, especially if you have an email, if you have an SSN, if you have anything that is so supposedly private, nakuha yun, nakita yun, that would be a huge issue din sa inyo. It's because the attackers or the malicious actors could clone you. They could what do you call this? Impersonate you. They would do the loans online using your SSNs. They can send a phishing email into your emails. They have your phone numbers. Attackers now, meron na silang mga ginagawa na mga method where they're going to clone the phone number, and then you're not able to use it, but the attacker can use your phone number. So technically, they could receive the OTPs, get into your banks, withdraw your finances, and also the very common that is happening right now is once na compromise nila yung accounts mo, Facebook, email, whatever it is, especially phone numbers, they could contact your relatives, your colleagues, or anyone and ask for financial help, where in fact it was the malicious actors and not you. So there's a lot of things that they can do with those informations. So yeah, compliance penalties. We have compliance bodies here, the GDPR, PCI DDS, or HIPAA requirements. So once you fail to meet those standards, it would be a disaster for you as well. It's because it is a corporate standard, and that corporate standard needs to be followed in order for you to be operational. There we go. Real world impact, major breaches like Equifax and MOVEit highlight that security cannot be an afterthought. And this is about the next slide. There you go. Change Healthcare 2024. It happened in way back 2024. And MOVEit transfer. And we are going to discuss that one. So MOVEit transfer, hindi yan MOVEit dito sa Pilipinas na mabubuk tayo ng ride. This is a different one. This is a MOVEit transfer. And we are going to discuss that one later. So yeah, Change Healthcare. The vulnerability, missing multi-factor authentication on remote access portal. So what does it mean? Of course, there is no MFA on the remote access portal. I have noticed, based on my years of experience, most of the remote access portal that I usually encounter only consist of CAPTCHA, and then mostly wala nga. But usually, if you are a big corporation, if you're a big business, supposedly dapat may MFA talaga yung remote access portal mo. And just to make sure, okay, hindi lang remote access portal yung merong MFA. Meron tayong mga FTPs, meron tayong mga SSH, but it's a different way to configure those na para ma-harden yung security nila. So again, walang MFA yung remote access portal nila. Possibly remote access portal has a default configuration. We are not sure. Or maybe the attacker had an access due to negligent employee that was compromised. Maybe he was sent an email, they clicked it, downloaded it, and the attacker gained the foothold on the system, which enables them to access the remote access portal. So the cost, over 2.45 billion in recovery ransom and operational losses. So yes, we are going to discuss also again with the ransom. Now, it is so for the 2.45 billion recovery ransom and operational losses, combine na po yun ha. Let's say si attacker nag-request siya ng $100 million. And then what will happen is that si attacker, meron siyang reputation, of course. And if it happens na si Change Healthcare, nagbayad siya ng $100 million, and then hindi dinicrypt ni hacker hindi nagbigay ng decryption key si hacker sa kay Change Healthcare, masisira yung reputation ni attacker. And furthermore, next time, wala nang maniniwalang kumpanya sa kanya na pag nagsabi siya na, oh, I have breached your system, you need to pay me. If next time na mangyayari yun, wala nang magbabayad sa kanya. So yes, attackers or malicious actors, meron din po silang reputation na inaalagaan in order for them to gain money, and it's a malicious and evil way. So the impact crippled the US healthcare billing systems for weeks, affected 192 million individuals. So this is what we are discussing earlier. So healthcare billing system, US healthcare have a lot of, the cost of US healthcare is so high compared sa mga ibang countries, but I believe their healthcare is way better than other countries as well, especially us. So imagine yung pila, imagine yung mabibil ka, imagine yung what do you call this, like the service fees because of those billing systems na naapektuhan, but hopefully si Change Healthcare gumawa ng paraan to address that one. Okay, let's proceed with the Move It transfer. So this is a 0-day SQL injection flaw, CVE 2023-34362. So that is the identifier for that kind of vulnerability. 0-day SQL injection. What do you mean by 0-day SQL injection? SQL injection can happen in any systems. Okay, if you have hindi maayos na MySQL queries, hindi siya secure, hindi siya parameterized, walang input validation, anyone can have SQL injection vulnerability. Now, estimated billions globally across affected organizations. Why? We're going to discuss that. Impact mass exploitation by the Clop ransomware group. Thousands of organizations breach worldwide. So why is it that thousands of organizations was breached worldwide? Again, this is a 0-day SQL injection. Means specific only for Move It transfer. Let's say si company ABC is using Move It transfer. So si Move It transfer is a file transfer application wherein they could send this file to anyone or give this file to someone across the globe. That is their service. Now, hindi lang si company ABC yung gumagamit ng Move It transfer. Just like example, Apache Tomcat, hindi lang si company ABC yung gumagamit nun. Si company 123 gumagamit din nun. Si company XYZ gumagamit din nun. Now, it happens that lahat sila gumagamit ng same software, and that software gets affected. So lahat silang kumpanya na apektuhan, nagkaroon sila ng breach, and that's what the Clop ransomware group did. They extort those companies and cost billions globally across affected organizations. Again, 0-day specific program that is being used by multiple companies across the world, and those companies got affected. Okay. We also have different attack vectors but we are only going to focus on the penetration testing side. We have phishing, spear phishing, vishing. Vishing is a voice phishing. And the newest attack vector now is squishing. What is squishing? Squishing is a QR code phishing. So yung mga hindi aware and then suddenly scan lang ng QR code, they're going to click the link and then boom, your hack. And yan. And anyhow, we need to inform ourselves what are the common thing or the trend ng cybersecurity nowadays. So I think this is the favorite of everyone, hacker classifications. So white hat, that is us. So what we do is authorized pen testing, ethical. Ethic means we are on the ethical side, ethics side, legitimate. And our goal is to improve security. And I hope most of us would go on this one, would aim on this one. so that we could contribute naman sa community and how we could secure our applications, our cybersecurity landscape itself. So yes, black hat, malicious, unauthorized criminal intent. As what I've said earlier, the Clop ransomware, for example, they have malicious intentions, unauthorized criminal intent, specifically for extortion, money extortions. Gray hat, unauthorized but typically reports without malicious use. So gray hat is a bit of combination between white hat and black hat. So technically wala siyang authority to pen test that kind of systems. But na-report niya yung finding without malicious use. Hindi niya sinira yung database, hindi niya in-encrypt yung data, hindi niya dinump yung data publicly, pero na-report niya into company ABC, for example. So, well, it's borderline illegal, but yung intention niya somehow is to improve security. Yan lang, hindi siya authorized to pen test those. And that is where the bug bounty would come up, because there's a lot of bug bounty platforms. If you know, bug bounty platforms are the platforms where company ABC, company 123, company XYZ, or Nvidia, or Microsoft, or Facebook, or Jollibee, or any companies that you know, possibly nasa bug bounty platform sila, hosting their bug bounties. And what happens in bug bounties is whatever you find vulnerabilities there, there is an equivalent amount na ibabayad sa'yo depending on the severity of the issue. So let's say you happen to found this kind of vulnerability na you could dump all the data, makukuha mo lahat ng data, makakapag-execute ka ng code or whatever it is. So let's say it is a critical finding, there is an equivalent bounty on that one, equivalent financial payment para sa researcher na yan, para sa pentester na yan. And so dapat yung pag-report mo nun is accurate and documented siya properly. We are going to discuss that one also later on how the documentations is very important for pen testing. So yeah, other threat actors, script kiddies, low skill, use pre-made automated tools. I remember way back, like before, I guess, was in college, this Mirai botnet. So Mirai botnet, technically hindi siya tool, but an open source wherein you need to tweak a little bit. And what will the Mirai botnet will do? It will scan the entire internet. It would look for smart devices. Let's say, for example, smart washing machine, smart TV, smart ref, anything smart in your house, or anything that you own as an IoT. What the Mirai botnet would do is that magla-log in siya doon sa portal ng mga smart devices and would try to use the default configurations or default passwords. If it happens na hindi na configure ni user yung mga ganon, yung default password, technically yung smart devices na yon would be included into the bots, wherein it would be used as DDoS. So DDoS is distributed denial of service. We are using multiple devices to send a lot of requests, send a lot of service requests onto the specific server. So technically, you will be flooding the server, and the outcome would be the server would be down. Okay. Just an example for script kiddies, but I noticed there's a lot of open source tools now na lumalabas sa market, sa GitHub, and anyone with this knowledge can use it. And how much more pa yung mga threat actors na magagaling na talaga sa field. So think about that. If low level script kiddies can use those skills to use those open source tools, how much more are the talented ones? So nation state, highly funded. APTs are advanced persistent threats. geopolitical goals, and I will give an example to that. If you happen to remember the Lazarus Group, they happened to breach the Xbox, the Sony as well. Yeah, and what they did was compromise the system, got a lot of informations, got a lot of money from it, and hindi lang po yan, persistent po sila. They also, if you happen to remember the Axie way back in COVID days, Axie, it was hacked also by a allegedly North Korean attackers or North Korean APTs, wherein there's a lot of money that was lost, millions of dollars in crypto money. And lastly, this one is malicious or negligent employees. So malicious, we know that malicious actors would try to apply to company ABC. Pag-apply niya kay company ABC, makakuha siya ng laptop or anything. Yan na kagad yung foothold nila. Yun lang yung kailangan niyang gawin. Mag-apply lang, kuha ng devices, laptop, or whatever it is. If hindi siya ganun ka-technical, ibibenta niya sa market yung laptop na yan, pati yung logins, and that company ABC would be compromised na kagad kasi meron ng foothold si attacker. Another thing is threat actor, negligent employees. So we have the best example here na si threat actor, binabasa niya or ina-observe niya yung isang employee for ilang months, and that employee, let's say for example si Bob employee, every day, every lunchtime pumupunta siya sa specific na restaurant, and then si specific restaurant, let's say si Jollibee, and then pumunta siya doon every lunchtime, and then na-notice niya yung actor yun, and then what the malicious actor did was he sent a specific crafted email to Bob. Saying that, hi Bob, since you are our highly valued customer, you have 80% or 90% off or 100% off for your next order. Now, since si Bob is a very avid fan of a Jollibee or whatever restaurant it is, he clicked the link on the email, and suddenly there was this file that was being downloaded on the system. Nagtaka si Bob, bakit saan na yung coupon, saan na yung discount, whatever it is. Walang discount. Instead, there was a malware that was installed on his computer. And that itself, once na nagka-malware na yung computer, yun na yung gagawin ng attackers as a foothold to gain more privileged access sa systems nila, sa systems ng company ni Bob. So let's say for example, si Bob is a low-level user, he is from HR, and then si attacker would do is, since it is connected to the Active Directory, so maybe this is far or maybe it's too deep or technical na. So imagine na lang, from low privilege user, there are higher privileged users, and there are admins, right? Now, si threat actor, yung gagawin niyan is elevate, privilege escalation yung process dun. Elevate niya yung privilege niya into the highest privilege. So, makakompromise niya na lahat-lahat yon. And doon na makakapag-send ng whatever, kung ano man yung goal ni threat actor. Okay. Yeah, ethical hacking life cycle. So what happens to us, or what we usually do daily, okay? So first example is reconnaissance or recon. So let's say for example, me as a pen tester, there is this company ABC that is asking for a pen test on their system. What I am going to do is that before this one, sorry, kulang siya ha. Before this one, meron tayong tinatawag na documentations, walkthrough calls. Sa documentations na yan, nag-include dyan kung ano yung kailangan i-provide sa akin ni company ABC. It's either the credentials, the usernames, depending on what is the kind of penetration testing approach we are going to do. We have multiple ones: the black box, the white box, and the gray box. So black box means wala ka talagang knowledge sa kay company ABC. Just do the pen test, and whatever you find, you report it to us. So si white box is magpo-provide lahat-lahat si company ABC. Ipo-provide niya yung source code, ipo-provide niya yung credentials, highest credentials, whatever it is, or whatever that you need to pen test the system. The gray box naman is in between. Somehow you don't know, somehow you know. And usually it involves only credentials and a walkthrough call. So sa credentials, you have already a credentials like you have one set of credentials for low privilege user and you have one set of credentials for admin user. So usually yun yung mga nangyayari. Now, in the walkthrough call, si company developer, mag-explain yan siya kung ano yung functions ng application. Let's say si company ABC meron siyang meron siyang tawag dito online shop. Let's say online shop siya, online shop. Like basically e-commerce. That's what I mean, e-commerce. Bibili ka ng damit, add to cart, all the process, log in, sign up, put the promo codes, check out. So i-explain sa'yo ni i-explain sa'yo ni company developer. And ikaw as a pen tester, what you need to do is understand how the application works. And also, since na you are a pen tester or mag-i-assess mo yung security, habang nandun ka sa walkthrough call, meron ka nang naiisip na mga scenarios on what you can do. Okay. So let's say for example, pag add to cart mo, meron siyang process na post request body na yung price ni product is let's say 999. And then yung gagawin mo sa post request body na yon is lalagyan mo siyang ng negative or gagawin mo siyang 0. So that pagka-process mo dun sa checkout page, 0 na yung babayaran mo. So technically, that is a vulnerability already. And funny how, me myself discovered that one personally. I don't want to disclose what the company is, but I did send them an email regarding with it. And maybe it took a year for them to fix that, but I am happy now that they have changed it and fix all those issues now. And I think it's much better now sa security posture nila compare sa previously na nangyari. So what I did there was, I am not sure, I can't remember why I am using a VPN that time, but during the usual process, I bought this cake, okay? I bought this cake and I was using a VPN. And I turned off the VPN and proceed with the process. Now I am in the Philippine IP now. But when I was using the VPN, I was using US IP. So the price when I was using the US IP is $60. Now, nung turn off ko yung VPN, na-notice ko, naging 60 pesos siya. Nag-change yung currency niya after kong in-off yung VPN. And then, ni-refresh ko ulit, bumalik na siya into the correct price. So, napaisip ako dun. So, if ganun yung nangyayari, there is a mechanism behind kung paano na-distinguish ni application kung magkano siya. So, what I did there was, I dig deeper on the application to happen na meron siyang variable na currency talaga sa request body niya. And what I did was edit the currency. So instead of using PHP, I mean using USD, I used PHP. So instead na 60 USD siya, naging 60 pesos na lang siya. I reported it and I'm happy now na ginawa naman nila ng action. So again, natagalan tayo dun. So yeah, documentations, and then after nun, meron tayong recon or reconnaissance. So you are going to look for the attack surface, OSINT if you are approaching a black box. So what you're going to do is open source intelligence investigation. What you can do with that one is you are going to look for the information's availability on the internet based kay ABC, company ABC. Let's say for example si company ABC, meron siyang companyabc.com/backup, okay? And tinanggal na nila 'yon. And habang nagre-research ka, tinanggal lang nila sa URL, tinanggal lang nila sa website nila, pero yung companyabc.com/backup is existing pa din. And it happened na pag open mo kay backup, it's a zip file of all of the informations in the company, then it is already a vulnerability. That is a sensitive information disclosure. So, yon, mapping the attack surface, what are the scopes of your testing, what are the limitations, do's and don'ts, scanning, port scanning, vulnerability scanning, and deep enumeration. So port scanning, that is involved networking basis na, and we usually do that as well. But on web application pen testing, vulnerability scanning and deep enumeration. So for in deep enumeration, we have this tools now we are using. It's either GoBuster. You can use Burp Suite Intruder as well. We have also FFUF or FUF, where let's say for example, companyabc.com slash whatever file name it is or whatever directory or URL it is, yung mga tools na yun na ginagamit namin would brute force. They are using dictionary based words or text, and then i-brute force nila yun. And then depending on the responses na makikita nila or makikita ng tool is yun yung gagamitin. Let's say for example, companyabc.com slash admin slash login. Okay? You cannot see that on the web application itself. Parang hindi pinalam ni developer, hindi nila pinakita. But using the tool, you were able to do that kasi brute force mo yung mga URLs na yon using the dictionary-based method. Okay. So exploitation, gaining access, privilege escalation, and lateral movement. As what I have mentioned earlier, kung paano na-compromise si Bob, nag-click siya ng discount code, and then nagkaroon ng malware yung laptop niya, and then doon na nag-lateral movement si attacker kasi ginamit ni attacker yung laptop niya as foothold para makapag-exploit ng mas marami pang servers or systems. Okay. But usually on the security assessment, hindi namin ginagawa yung ganyan. Let's say for example, you are able to do this reverse shell or remote code execution. We're going to discuss that one as well. Remote code execution. Hindi na namin kailangan na mag-reverse shell pa because we are able to execute a code na. So reporting, this is my favorite part, documenting findings, exact impacts, and remediation steps. So document findings, exact impacts, and remediation steps. So we also include the steps to reproduce, and I guess I need to, I'm sorry, i-turn off ko lang yung notification muna nito. Okay, sorry. Let's go back. It's just my mga coworkers. Okay. So we also include steps to reproduce on how we did that, especially the very accurate one. First is nag-login ako. Second is ginamit ko yung ganitong function to do this. The exact steps on how I did that so that it would help the developer fix those issues. And that is their remediation steps. Yeah, exact impacts. Let's say, for example, I was able to manipulate the price. You know, the impact. It would financial impact on the company or the system. Okay, defining rules and engagement (ROE). So we have here in the in scope section, we have specific IP ranges, domains, and URLs. So yun lang yung specific na in-scope items natin. Let's say for example, nagbigay si company ABC na itong specific IP lang yung attack mo. Excuse me. 192.168.1.1, yun lang talaga yung kailangan mong specific IP na iti-test for network security testing. Domains and URLs, also including that one. Kung sabi ni company ABC is companyabc.com lang yung attack mo, hindi ka na pwedeng mag-attack sa dashboard.companyabc.com, hindi ka na pwedeng mag-attack sa other subdomains, you cannot do it. And URLs, specific URLs. Also, authorized testing windows to avoid disruptions. So, me as a remote corporate worker, yung testing windows ko is based on IST. IST is India Standard Time because most of my colleagues are from India, and most of the applications that we pen test are is in India, located in India. So what I'm going to do is that magsasabay ako sa time nila para makapag-test ako ng maayos. Kasi let's say for example, susundin ko yung PH time and then yung employees ni ganitong application is hindi pa pala naka-login. If ever na may questions ako, if ever na merong operational downtime, wala akong ma-chat, wala akong masasabihan na, oy, yung application hindi gumagana kasi ginawa ko yung ganito. So sumasabay ako sa testing windows or time windows na available din si POC or si point of contact. Permitted attack vectors, application layer only. We have different attack vectors. So we have 7 layers for that. May physical, may network, application, you know what it is. Yun lang yung pwede natin gawin. Hindi natin pwedeng hindi tayo pwedeng pumunta sa company headquarters ni company ABC just to hack that server kasi isasaksak mo yung flash drive mo doon na merong malicious program and then that's it. You compromise. No. There is a permitted attack vectors only sa in scope sections. And approved credentials for authenticated testing. We have specific credentials for that one for the testing. Hindi pwedeng yung ano mo lang yung personal credentials mo, hindi pwede yan kasi specific tayo dapat sa pag test engagements. Kasi let's say for example, gagamitin ko yung email ni Bob while doing the testing. So si company ABC mag-expect siya, si Bob pala yung nagte-testing nito or hinahack na si Bob, hindi ko alam. Magaganan si company ABC. Wherein if there is a specific credentials, let's say test credentials at abc.com, malalaman ni company na, okay, ito pala si test credentials. So siya nagte-test siya ngayon by this specific time frame window. So yun. Out of scope, third-party services without explicit vendor permission. What are the third-party services? Let's say for example kanina si Move It Transfer. So it is a third-party service. So si company ABC is using that third-party service. So hindi ko siya pwede i-test kasi that application does not belong to company ABC. Company ABC is only using that. Denial of service, DOS or DDoS. So usually hindi talaga permitted yan both in corporate pen testing and bug bounty. Hindi talaga ina-allow yan because na pag inatake mo yung system, magkakaroon ng downtime, and mind you, those systems are already in production level. Production level means there's a lot of people are using it. So once na magka-operational downtime yan, there would be a lot of loss. Social engineering or physical breaches, as what I've said earlier, hindi ka pwedeng pumunta sa headquarters para lang mag-install ng malware mo doon or isa-study mo si Bob tapos sendan mo siya ng coupon as what I have given an example earlier. So hindi pwede yun sa rules of engagement sa security assessment because malicious actors na yung gumagawa nun. But we do have other approach din naman. May mga red team approach din wherein the company would request for a red team approach wherein red teamers or red team operators, maybe we have a viewer here na nag-undergo ng red team operator sa certification. He knows it. So what they are going to do is that pupunta sila ng, let's say for example lang this is only one specific thing na ginagawa nila. Pupunta sila sa headquarters, they're going to install malware without being detected. So technically dapat hindi malaman na andun pala sila tapos nag-install sila ng backdoor or whatever it is. So that is one of their exams. So it is also in scope once si company request siya ng red team assessment. Hindi lang kasi ano yan, hindi lang kasi hacking yan sa computer, hindi lang kasi pen testing yan sa computer. To breach something, a system or a corporation, there's a lot of attack vectors that you can use. You can even use psychology to bring out your attacks, but that's a deeper topic we're going to focus on here. Okay, so VA versus PT versus VA PT. What does it mean? Okay, so let's go with vulnerability assessment first. So yung goal ni vulnerability assessment is to identify vulnerabilities. And then yung depth niya, broad but shallow and highly automated. And usually we use scanners for that one. Excuse me. Usually our best friend talaga on hand sa web application security is Burp Suite. And we have on the Burp Suite Pro, we have the scanning tool na magagamit to scan for possible vulnerabilities in the system. So outcome list of potential risks. So potential risk lang siya. So technically, once you do the vulnerability assessment, nagsascan ka lang, gusto mong malaman kung ano yung mga possible na mga potential risk, possible na vulnerabilities, but you do not know it yet because you need penetration testing to exploit vulnerabilities that was discovered, deep and focused, manual and creative proof of exploit. So that's where we go in, penetration testing. So dapat talaga go hand in hand si VA and PT. Hindi yung VA lang, hindi yung PT lang, VA, PT talaga dapat. Let's say for example, you happen to find this on the scanner, meron kang nakitang SQL injection, let's say for example, but sometimes meron tayong tinatawag na false positives, means na trigger siya ni scanner because may nakita siyang ganitong character sa code, then nagsabi na kagad si scanner na okay, may SQL injection to. So now as a penetration tester, as mag-assess ka ng security, you need to prove it if it's exploitable or not. And this is also where we're going to go in manual and creative. As what I have given an example earlier, hindi ako nag-stick sa kay Cake doon kanina, na hindi ako nag-stick doon na sa currency niya na USD lang. Hinanapan ko talaga siya ng paraan kung paano ko siya manually maiiba. So that is where the manual and creative and how artistic that is. You need to have a broad kind of imagination to deliver your attacks. And that is the beauty of pen testing. Maybe later if we are going, may meron pa tayong time, we're going to discuss. Yes, sir.
Question po sa testing mo. What if pagkatapos ng testing gumawa ka na ng report, okay naman, but after a week, merong hacking incident.
I see.
Paano yun?
Very good question, sir. On the testing report, sir, meron tayong tinatawag na severity. So severity, let's say critical, high, medium, and low severity findings. For critical findings, usually right after mong makita yon and ma-discover yon, kailangan mong i-contact yung POC or point of contact mo para ipaalam sa kanila na merong critical finding dito. Anyone can attack your system. Let's say si Bob, pipindutin niya lang yung number 1 sa phone niya, mahahack niya na yung system mo. Kailangan mong i-fix to right away. So the SLA for that one is usually 1 to 3 days, but supposedly mas early pa dyan dapat. 1 to 3 days yung ano dyan. Dapat ma-fix na kagad ni developer yan. Even though hindi mo pa na-deliver yung report, because that is a critical finding. Critical finding means it is very to exploit. Anyone can do it. The impact is huge. The risk is huge. Everything. So it's a chaos. So that's what usually happens. Now, for high findings means somehow huge pa din yung impact niya, pero yung exploitability niya is less na lang. Kasi let's say for example, anyone can hack it sa critical, but on high findings, ano lang siya, yung mga tao sa company na lang, yung mga nagla-login sa company na lang yung makakapag-hack kasi nasa network sila. And for medium findings, it would take around 5 to 8 days depending sa pag uh, remediate nila or pag-fix nila yan. So there is an equivalent SLAs or timelines for specific severities for that one, sir. What a wonderful question.
Okay. Thank you, sir. How about how many days when you pen test?
Mm.
How many
That, very good question ulit, sir. So again, sa walkthrough call, meron tayong walkthrough call. Doon pa lang, si pen tester, siya na yung mag-assess kung ilang days it would take for the system or for us to finish the security assessment. So since we know how the system works, what is the functions, we know or vaguely or may idea na kami kung paano namin siya ipipentest, ano yung approach namin. Meron kaming ibibigay sa kanila na timelines. Let's say for example, if e-commerce siya, mostly add to cart, checkout, whatever, it would only have a 5 days of engagements. So yung 5 days engagements na yon, let's say for example, first 3 days is pagsascan mo, or first day mo is pagsascan mo, isa-scan mo lahat ng information, kukuha ka lahat ng information. And second day mo is andun na papasok yung exploitation. Okay? Since na meron ka ng lahat na information na nakuha mo, use every information that you have to exploit or any existing vulnerabilities that it has. And maybe the third day, same day pa din kasi madami kang nakitang findings. Fourth day is documentation. Fifth day is documentation pa din, and at the same time, reporting. So, kami din sir yung nag-a-assess kung how long it would take for the pen test for this one to finish. Thank you so much for the question.
Nice, very good. I think we have a question. No?
Mhm.
Go ahead, Earl.
Good afternoon po, Sir Anjo.
Good
So,
afternoon.
since with the emerging of AI and AI tools becoming more capable, which parts of penetration testing process do you think will be augmented by AI? And which parts of pen testing will remain heavily dependent on human expertise?
Very nice question, that one, sir. And I have the best example for that one because recently lang, last week, merong bagong model si OpenAI, the GPT 5.6, and allegedly autonomously hacked another AI company, the Hugging Face. So si Hugging
Yes.
Face, yeah, nag-host siya ng multiple models doon. So autonomously, walang may nag-command kay GPT 5.6, but autonomously ginawa niya yon, hinak na yung si Hugging Face, and it caused a huge issue in the pen testing or hacking community itself because based on the question, um, ano yung mga capabilities ni AI, i-replace ba tayo ni AI in terms of pen testing? That is a very good question because most probably in technicality, yes, kasi si AI mas mabilis siya, mas thorough siya sa pag-scan. But the thing is, as what I mentioned earlier, si AI wala siyang creativity to think outside just what's the common thing or the common exploits happening in the wild. Wala siyang imagination na if I do this kind of vulnerability plus this kind of another vulnerability, it would cause this critical issue. So as of the moment, human creativity is very essential pa din sa pen testing. But on the emerging side of AI, if you are a pen tester and you know how to utilize AI, it would be a very great help then for you or for us, especially for me. I admit, I do use a lot of AI in terms of pen test and documentations. So it greatly helped me to do the security assessments because I'm taking advantage of the AI, and at the same time, since grabe yung pag-evolve ng security and the AI nowadays, you need to level up your game then. Because there's this hairline gap na lang from AI pen testing, autonomous AI pen testing to human creativity. But still, it would not, the AI would not replace that one. So I think I have answered your question, sir.
All right. Nice. Um, uh, from the audience, Sir Anjono, from RJ Abellada.
Mhm.
As a red teamer and aside from Burp Suite Professional, what are your other preferred red team tools?
Yeah, there's a lot actually, but since we are only focusing here on web application and AI, so way back before, my favorite tools are Nmap. We scan for ports. We also do use a lot of open source templates like Nuclei and Metasploit. And thank you so much. There was this guy from Red Teaming community that does this have these questions. So kudos to you, sir. So yeah, I have my favorite tools would be Nmap, Discover Ports, of course. Malaki din yung factor ng pag-discover ng ports sa systems or sa applications in terms of web applications. And also, yeah, that's my favorite tool. Wireshark as well, if you want to know everything what's happening within your network, but hindi ako ganun ka deep sa Wireshark. So yeah, that's it lang.
All right, thank you, sir. This one is probably personal. No?
Mhm.
From game dev, bakit napunta ka sa pen testing?
Okay, that was a very nice question, sir. And may backstory po tayo dyan. Is Sir Tres Pesio is still in Lasal?
Yes, yes, yes.
Wow. So hi, Sir Tres Pesio.
The father of computer
Yeah,
science.
the father of computer science. Yeah. So, hi Sir Trespesio. So, even before pa lang na nag-enroll ako sa LaSalle, I opted out first in IT because I really wanted to dive into security or pen testing. So, that is my goal talaga. But it happens na during the enrollment, Sir Trespesio, pumunta siya sa enrollment room and then kinonvince kami ng kasama ko na mag-go into ComSci because ComSci offers this ComSci is deeper than this, or what do you do this, and specifically game dev. So as of that time, there is this game dev offer in LaSalle, and syempre as ComSci, I wanted to dive deeper into coding. I wanted to dive deeper into ComSci related things. I went on with it kahit na game dev siya. And I somehow enjoyed na the college din naman. But after that, nag-go on talaga ako sa original goal ko na into security talaga. Cybersecurity.
Nice. Oh no, it's almost time na, no? Sayang, Sir Anjo, marami pa
Mhm.
kaming tanong sa iyo. Maybe next time we
Of
have
course.
another session for you.
Of course. No
Okay?
worries.
Sige, Sir Anjo, before we end our session,
Mhm.
for the viewers, Sir Anjo, for the viewers,
Yes, sir.
mayroon ka pa sa kanila? Ano ba yung pwede mong ma-advise?
For the viewers, technology and cybersecurity is evolving every day. So what you need to do is continue learning, especially if yung goal nyo is aligned into cybersecurity, because cybersecurity never stops. Continue to adjust on the trend. It's because na dahil ganito yung na-study nyo dati, ganito yung trending dati, magsistay lang kayo dito. Technology is evolving, we must evolve as well so that makapag-adjust din tayo sa mga threat actors, malicious actors. We know how to defend ourselves, and I guess that's it.
Yes, thank you, Sir Anjo. Earl?
Thank you, Sir Anja.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Sir Anjo,
Uh,
thank you so much.
Mhm.
all right. It's almost time now. We will end our session. Thank you po. Thank you. Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you, sir. I really enjoyed this
Thank
one.
you,
You
Sir
have a
Anjo.
great
Thank
day.
you.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Bye,
Sige
everyone.
po,
Okay.
thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.